Yes, good morning, everyone. So, if we are all good now, I would like to go right away to our very first speaker because we've already got some minutes. So, our first speaker is Rita Terry. She is the head of human resources at AIM Group, and has over 20 years of experience in leadership, human resources, organizational leadership, management, gained through various positions in different corporate and the private sector. But also she's involved in organizational culture and people operation, which I believe through her experience will be a very good position to share with us post-COVID experience and lessons she has gathered as a leader of the organization with us. So, Lisa, I hope you're ready. I want to invite you to the screen now so you can share with us.
Hi, can you hear me? Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. I am glad. Uh, okay, so I've decided to use my phone, so there'll be a bit of moving here and there. Kindly pardon that. So, my name is Rita Tarimo, and I've been in the HR industry for 12 years now. And I know it sounds so cliche, but I am passionate about people. And I know for sure passion is never enough. Passion needs to be accompanied by knowledge and by action and by hard work and smart work. So I try my best to keep a continuous learning attitude. And that is really why I keep progressing in my job. And I truly believe that knowledge sharing is very important because we want to together build a community that we all want to be a part of and proud of. So for me, it is such an honor to be with you all here today. Thank you so much for having me. So because of time, I'll just go straight to the point. Uh, COVID has really put all of us on our feet, on our knees. And I know we are rising up, and I hope that we all reach ultimate success together. But I think COVID-19 has also brought so many good lessons. For example, lessons about being mindful, being present in truly the present moment, and understanding that we are all connected on a broader picture, really. And so, how do we rise up from here? How do we rise up from here? Because we understand that there's so many small and medium companies that have been hit severely. We have so many companies that have done retrenchment, restructuring. So many things are going on at the same time. And I also understand that some companies have even been closed. And so I know it is very important for us to understand how do we move forward from here. So on the HR perspective, first of all, I encourage everyone to really focus on their well-being as people, and really the whole roundup of wholeness. We should be whole. We should talk about how we feel. We should really discuss how we really need to be supported as individuals. And this is the same way we should talk about corporates and companies, really, because so many companies now need support. And I don't think sitting locked in boardrooms will genuinely bring those uh, uh, um, measures that would rescue most of the organizations or most of the companies. And the good thing is that this is impacting the whole world. So you should not feel that you're alone. We are all in this together, and we've all been impacted in one way or another. But I know that we really are going to rise up as the topic for today. So I really love that word, rise up. So okay, perfect. I know you can hear me now. So, okay. So until we find the cure, we still have to find ways to um, live with COVID-19 and find ways and measures to really take care of us. So in the process of rising up, I have prepared 8 key points that I encourage and I advise that corporates, NGOs, any form of organization, and also people should focus on. And the beauty about human resource or people and culture is that there is no function, there is no organization, there is no country, there is no corporate without people. So people are genuinely at the core of any organization. And it is high time for us as human resource leaders and for organizations to treat people as such. People are important. You can have funds, you can have your machineries, you can have everything, but without people, it is a challenge, and competent people for that matter. So as we are rising up, I think number one, we must focus on awareness and openness. I think more than ever, we must involve the people in the organization in solving our challenges. And you, as people in the organization, you must volunteer to share how you feel the corporate should support you and what are the measures that companies or corporates or NGOs, for that matter, should take to help the company rise. Because I tell you the truth, sometimes companies will shut down, small business will shut down, but that is not an advantage because taxes will go down, people will lose their jobs. So I think it's very important for us to work together during this time. So awareness about what is going on and openness. Companies should be open about their finances. This is not the time to play trickery games. This is the time to really be honest and involve the team. Be open about what is going on in your company. And number two, more than ever, for us to rise up together, we must be genuine. We must have genuine connections, genuine human connections. I tell you the truth, remote working brings a number of challenges. And it is important that we genuinely have empathy, trust, accountability, and responsibility. So genuine connection means that we are all in this together. Let us work together to rise. But without connection, getting to really understand how someone feels, someone doesn't need to explain that, oh, I have to rush my child to the hospital for the HR leader to give them permission. As long as there are deliverables that are there, as long as the employee performs, as long as the employee does their part as far as responsibility for their task is concerned, and that they are accountable. And then the employer must also do their part. It is very important for us to really trust each other at this time. It is actually crucial. And there's no trust without respect. So really employers should reevaluate or increase trust to the employees. And the employees should really show why they should be trusted. So number three, I would go to policies. One of the role of HR leaders is to unite people, connect people. But you can do this not with your personal opinion, but with guidelines, proper guidelines. And this is where policies come in. Policies are very important. Strategic leaders should really engage. CEOs, founders of organizations should come together, prepare proper policies during this transition. And some of the policies that I think are very important for us to rise up at this particular time, a policy is return to work policies. What is it that is expected by the company? What is it that is expected by employees? And what is it that is expected from the company and from the employees and from all the other stakeholders that are involved? And continuous communication. We are still on number three, continuous communication. At this stage, you cannot over-communicate. Tell people how you're doing as a company. Tell people that you respect them, that you care for them. Tell people that these are the goals, these are the targets we have. This is how we want to achieve them. This is how we are doing as a company. Communicate, continuous communicate. Find ways. You can do online sessions. You can do town halls. You can do emails. You can do text messages. Anyhow, but make sure that people don't feel alone or left out. Because now we don't have the advantage of sitting together in one place. We don't know what people are going through. So it's very important for us to really reach out continuously. One of the policies that I recommend is return to work policy. But number 2 is health and well-being policy. Now, if you don't have the health and well-being policy, I kindly encourage you to prepare it now. It is crucial because it's important for people to understand what is expected as far as their health and the health of others is concerned. Okay, and number four, remote working is inevitable. And the good thing is it's been proven during this time that some of the organizations that have closed and people were working remotely and still people were able to deliver. So this has proven really that the paradigm of HR has shifted. The future we were waiting for is already here. No company can survive now without technology. So please provide the right tools to the employees. Provide the right tools. You can't expect someone to work remotely if you've not empowered them with the right tools. And I also think as we are working remotely, or as some of the people are really transitioning to going back to offices, but also working from home, I encourage that the company sets clear goals, clear objectives. If you can, use the OKRs, objective and key results. It's clear that someone understands this is my objective for this particular week. This is what I'm expected to provide as deliverables, as results. And this is how I'm going to do it. And this is the support I have from the team, from my manager, and from the leadership team as well. So I think it's very important to provide the right tools. I think it's very important to set the objective and key results clearly. Over communicate if you have to, and create an environment for success. And this environment doesn't really just have to be at the office. An environment for success can really be online, as we've seen and proven that it works. So please, for us to do remote working successfully, we need to have people have their tools. We need to tell them what is expected of them as far as objective and key results is concerned, and the direction of the company, and create an environment for success. That is number 4. I am heading to number 5, data. More than ever now, we can't deal without data. And data has to be real time. We have to get the information as time goes. We can't wait for, I don't know, end of the month for us to sit down and analyze. Of course, that should be done. We used to have that luxury of waiting, but now data is important. We should have information on the tip of our fingers, and anything that changes, we must communicate. More than ever, I think moving or transitioning to technology tools is very necessary for everyone to get data at the right time. If you're a HR leader, try and find ways that you can communicate data. If you can, even involve all these AI forms that you can to really reach out to people. Also, number 6, plan, implement, monitor, evaluate the process continuously. Plan, implement, monitor, and evaluate the process continuously. And this is not something that should stop. This is a continuous process. We always plan what is it that we do next. You implement what you have agreed on, set key deliverables, and then monitor the process, evaluate and analyze how far you've gone and what are the lessons, then go on to doing again from the plan section. So this is the time for us to rise up. We need to really plan. What is it that we expect as a company, as individuals, as organizations, and all form of corporates. Number 7, and this I emphasize. I can't emphasize it enough. We need to bring each other up. We need each other. I think the world has proven that my safety depends on another person's safety. So my performance depends on another person's performance. HR is about uniting people. It's about bringing people together, the right people, and supporting them to deliver. At the same time, check their engagement measures or levels. So all I'm saying here now is, as leaders, if you are a founder of an organization, if you're a CEO, if you're a leader at any capacity, please unite people. This is not the time to divide people. Don't start with groups and making people feel left out. Oh, these people are in the cycle. These ones are outside the cycle. You are dividing people. And once people are divided, in the past, you could divide and rule. But now with technology and information, you can't divide and rule. Actually, you divide and you struggle as a company. So all I'm saying is, I insist, there are no outcasts. If you've decided to employ someone and have them work with you, that means you respect those people and they are capable. If they are not, there are other ways to let them go so that they also find places where they can deliver more and create value. But if you have people in your organization, I really emphasize and encourage that you unite people. We should find ways to bring people together so that people can work together. We really genuinely need each other. This is not a small matter. We need each other. Of course, we must set guidelines that can unite people. As HR leaders, we must really be competent as far as the labor law is concerned, as far as the government labor policy is concerned, the 204 Act. So we should really focus and unite people. Number 8, and the last one, we are rising up, and this I know for sure. We are rising up, and this I know for sure. So we must keep a continuous learning attitude. We must keep a continuous learning attitude. What you knew yesterday was helpful, but today we can learn more. Don't shy away from asking questions. Don't shy away from saying, I don't know. Especially as leaders, I think sometimes it's easy for leaders to feel that they can't learn from junior members, or they can't learn enough from junior members. But I think now with technology, it is imperative for us to keep a continuous learning and to really depend on each other for learning. So that is all for me. I've highlighted 8 points. Number 1 is awareness and openness. Number 2, genuine human connection. Number 3, policies. Number 4, remote working and the tools we should prepare. Number 5 is data. Number 6 is to plan, implement, monitor, evaluate the process. Number 7, we need each other. We need each other. We need each other, and unite your team. Number 8, continuous learning attitude. Never stop learning. So thank you so much. Such an honor. And if you have any questions, I can't wait to respond.
Rita, that was such a powerful presentation. And I think for me, what stands out throughout your presentation was how you're passionate about involving people, uniting people. And the whole point of saying HR's role is to unite the people in the company and not divide.
Hello, everyone. So I understand there is a very bad code, which we are doing our best to try to solve it. So we'll be moving to our next speaker. Meanwhile, we will be putting this on the background.
Hi, Esa.
Hi, Albert.
How are you?
How are you?
Great,
I'm very,
great,
very
great.
good.
Great, thank you.
So we are more than happy to have you.
It's my
So
pleasure.
if you can please introduce yourself and take it over.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for joining in the call. And apologies for the voice or audio issues. My name is Herbert Paspamire. I'm the CFO of ROM. ROM is the holding company for BrighterMonday, which has got different businesses in different countries, including Tanzania, Kenya, Nigeria, Uganda, and Senegal, and Ghana. I've been with ROM for the past 1.5 years, and I've got over 20 years experience working in various companies across Africa at senior finance level. So I'm going to be sharing with you my lessons or my experience in the last couple of months, especially with regards the COVID-19 topic, as well as the lessons that I think are very relevant for us as business and as people going forward, and how we can also move forward and use this experience to the best of our advantage. I don't know if I can share my screen, Esa. I'm not sure how you can do that, but I've got a presentation that I want to share with the audience. Let me just see here. Okay. Can you see my screen? Can any people see my screen? Esther, can you confirm if you can see my screen? Okay, all right, let me see. Okay, can you see my screen now? Okay, great. So I'm just going to talk through this. I see you can see my screen. So I think the first thing that I want to talk about is also just to explain to you how, as finance, we have been involved in supporting the organization handle this COVID-19 situation. And thereafter, I'll talk about the lessons that have come out of that experience. So I think there are 3 areas that I think are very relevant to explain the role of finance in the current situation. I think the most important thing that came out is that finance, we are a partner to the business. So I see finance as a co-pilot to steering the business towards its objective of meeting various stakeholder requirements, whether be it shareholders, whether it be it employees, be it customers. So as finance, the first thing that was very important when COVID-19 situation came up is how do we protect the financial performance of the business? Because through that, that's how we can satisfy all the stakeholders in the business. The second thing that was also priority for us is making sure that we support the initiatives to provide customer value. So a lot of initiatives were taken by various businesses to ensure that there's business continuity, to ensure that clients continue to get value, and assist clients also handle a situation which was unprecedented. And that required a lot of resources, whether be it employees, whether be it financial resources. That was very important in helping a lot of businesses and clients and employees make sure that customer value is continuously provided. The third thing that came out of COVID situation was that yes, it was something that was unexpected, but I think as humans, as a human race, we have come through a number of similar challenges in the past. What is very important in this situation is to understand that this will come to pass, and you must prepare yourself and reset the business for a post-COVID era. So the best time to do it is now, because you can't wait for the situation to change. Whilst you're dealing with the situation, you also need to make sure that you prepare yourself for the next situation. So what do we mean by protecting the finance, the business performance? Ultimately, business performance is about making sure that the financial results of the company and the ability to pay suppliers and employees and operate successfully into the future. That is really what protecting the business performance is. And the first thing that a lot of businesses did when COVID situation came was to make sure that they conserve cash, make sure that they reduce their costs in a way that does not affect their service delivery ability, and allowing the business to weather the storm. And I think with where we are now, with most companies returning back to the office, there is a realization that that part of the equation has been handled relatively okay, although there have been some casualties along the way. But most businesses were very quick off the blocks to look at saving cash, to managing costs, and making sure that they weather the storm. And also protecting the performance of the business is also to make sure that the foundation of the business is not destroyed because of trying to navigate a very difficult situation. The way I see it is that it's like you're on a journey in a car, and you come across a bad part of the road, and your navigation system tells you, look, you've got a bad part of the road, you need to take a different course. You're still going to reach your destination. Your objective is to get to your destination, but you just need to take a different course. And this is what it was ultimately all about, making sure that the foundation of the business is maintained. And as finance, that was one of the key things that we were involved in making sure that the performance of the business is maintained, so that the foundation remains strong to continue operating after COVID situation. And ultimately, survival is not an option. It's actually compulsory. We have to survive as a human race. I think that's what Rita also talked about earlier on. We owe it to our employees, we owe it to our customers, we owe it to our shareholders to make sure that we survive. So it's not a question of whether we survive or not, we have to survive. And that's very important from a finance perspective, because we need to make sure that the business remains strong even under very difficult circumstances. Protecting performance of the business also means supporting various initiatives that the company puts in place on employees and customers, making sure that there's ongoing financial resources for building continual long-term relationships with clients. And to do that, you also need to, I think one of the key things that came out of the COVID situation was that a lot of businesses had to relook at their situation and understand what the impact is, quantify those issues that were impacting the business, replan their business projections, whether be it budgets, whether be it forecasts, make sure that you understand what the impact is, because through that, that's the only way you can survive. You cannot go into, you couldn't go into it blindly. You needed to make sure that you've got clear understanding of where you're going. I think one of the most important things that is critical for any business is to make sure that you understand your where you're going. As an example, I think one of the things for those that like sport, if you know Formula One, one of the things that Lewis Hamilton was asked at some point was, what is the most critical thing for you as a driver? And what he said is that it's information that I get to know how I'm performing so that I can improve, or so that I can manage a very difficult situation. And this is very similar to what happened under COVID situation. We are in a difficult situation, and finance was there to make sure that the business has got the right information to plan, to reset, and to move forward under a very difficult situation. So that's one of the things that as finance, a lot of finance people in various organizations did to help their organizations navigate the situation. I think I talked about that. And I think during that whole process, it's not just about finance doing all of that, because a lot of the information that is required to build and maintain the foundation and see the business through a very difficult situation comes through consultation, listening and communication. I think Rita also touched about that. Keeping your stakeholders informed of how the business is performing. I think it was very important. A lot of people had a lot of concern. They're apprehensive about their job security, what the future holds. I think a very open communication process is very key. Things like having town halls with your employees to make sure that they understand how the business is performing, what the business is doing going forward. And I think that also builds into the whole protecting the performance of the business situation. So what are the lessons that we learned? So one of the lessons that we learned is that we never waste a crisis. What do I mean by that? I think a crisis puts everyone on alert. A crisis shakes our confidence in things that we are used to, but it also gives us an opportunity to look at things in a different way, and it also gives an opportunity to reset ourselves to the next thing. So what happened during COVID? I think it was an opportunity to keep an eye on the long term, not to lose track of where the organization is going. Yes, there were short-term challenges, there were short-term targets that needed to be achieved, or that still need to be achieved because we haven't come out of the woods yet. But I think the main thing is that don't lose focus on the long-term opportunities that you're trying to do as a business. Keep your focus, keep your binoculars looking forward, and make sure that you keep resetting yourselves. Key amongst those is making sure that your customer relationships continue. As BrighterMonday, I think we had an offer that was given to clients, Unity in Adversity. This was really to build long-term relationship with clients so that they also see themselves through this situation. And I think that's one of the key lessons that came out of COVID situation. Continually strengthen the business relationship. And from a finance perspective, we were supporting a lot of that through making sure that the financial numbers behind those decisions made sense. There was a clear understanding of the lifetime value of the client. So lesson number one, do not waste a crisis. And secondly, use the opportunity to reset your cost base. So within this crisis, there are a lot of things that businesses have to question. Do we need this cost? Do we need to operate this way? Things like, we're so much used to having like copiers, printers, printing documents and filing. With the working from home situation, a lot of those things became redundant, or we realized that we don't need them as much as we think we do. So from a finance perspective, I think it's very important to make sure that those opportunities to reset the cost base are retained in the organization. You don't want the business to, after the COVID situation is under control, to revert back to where the situation was. But what is very important is make sure that you hold on to those learnings and those opportunities that you've derived during the process. Reset the cost base. If it means the cost base is lower, the better it is for the business. If it means the cost base is different, make sure that it's to the advantage of the business so that it can handle a similar situation better next time. So lesson number two, manage risks and losses. So what came out of COVID situation is that there were a lot of risks that we were not aware of. And those risks, to a large degree, were a surprise. But at the same time, those risks had to be managed. So there were small things like making sure that there's proper work from home setups, data, laptops, and PPE for staff. Those things we're not prepared for. But it's a very important lesson that whenever you've got a crisis, have a quick understanding of what the risks are, what are the cost implications are. make sure that you plan for them within the period that you need to execute. You build in place a process of managing that situation. So a lot of the risks can be managed either through insurance, or you know, making sure that you keep proper records of all the equipment that moves out of the organization. You secure the offices in the event that you're not working from there, and you manage your cash even more stringently than before. You know, all those risks and losses were some of the lessons that we learned from COVID situation. Make sure that whenever you've got a crisis, whenever you've got a situation like COVID, reassess and understand your risks and costs that come out of that situation and manage them in a way that is controllable. Don't let that get out of hand, because without a clear understanding of what it is, it can get out of hand and you lose track and you end up having more costs than what you expect. The third lesson is, which I think is the most important going forward, is that we need to embrace the new normal. Things are not going to go back to the same situation as we had before. I know a lot of companies, businesses are going back to the office already, which in some extent is a welcome thing for some people, but there's also a realization that you can still do your work from home. Some people can even say you can do your work from anywhere. You don't need to be in one country. You don't need to be in one place to do your work. So business has to embrace all those things. Make sure that whatever setup you have, there's clear understanding of the expectations of deliverables from various stakeholders. Make sure that the setup ensures that employees remain productive, communication remains smooth, and most importantly, your clients still get the same level of service that they've been expecting. So the new normal is here to stay with us. But I think what is also important is that the COVID situation is not probably the last that we'll see in our lifetime. There have been a lot of similar situations that we've seen. I think in 2008, we had the financial crisis. Now we've got the COVID situation. All those things create a lot of apprehension in an organization. But what is important and what we have learned with the COVID situation is that every organization needs to continually reassess how ready and prepared they are for the next threat. Yes, we don't know what it is, but you can still prepare for it. How do you do that? You maintain agility, make sure that communications and structures within the organization remain smooth. Communicate with key stakeholders all the time, understand expectations, give feedback to your employees of what's happening. Adopt digital tools. I think that has been one of the most important things out of the COVID situations. I'm currently talking to over 160 people in Tanzania, yet I'm sitting in South Africa. That's the new normal. That's the digital tools. It allows for us to continually be productive and deliver value to various clients and to various stakeholders. I think that's one thing that we're going to embrace, that we need to carry forward into the new normal, make that work to our advantage. And things like what Nancy was showing previously on the assessments that BrighterMonday is doing to support recruitment in a way that is seamless, in a way that is digital, that ensures that there's a smooth process in doing it. Those are the things that are going to come through as a normal in post the COVID situation. So those are the lessons that I've learned, and that's all that I have in terms of the presentation. I would be happy to take any questions from the audience, if any.
Hello, Albert. So there are no questions yet. But I'm hoping that everyone has been able to grab something from your presentation. It was very helpful, and we are more than happy to have you on the session and sharing your experience for everyone else to be able to think of your page, I mean from your book. So if there are any questions, I will, as the floor of the session, I will just send it to you. Or if there was any question will be responded after this session, I will also email and we will be able to answer them. So thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me, and have a lovely day to everyone.
You too. So before we come to the end of our session, here to close the session for us is Rachel.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Apologies for the technical disturbances. We don't know. We tested as we usually do, but it seems like technology is not on our side. On one hand, I know that we say that we need to go digital, and I think these are one of the things that we have to adapt to and get sorted out. So our sincere apologies. My name is Reshma, as Erica mentioned, and I am the CEO at BrighterMonday Tanzania. I really want to thank Rita and Herbert for sharing their experiences. Thank you so much. It means a lot. I know that you have busy lives, and we really appreciate the fact that you're willing to share your experiences and learnings with us. I think, as mentioned during the course of the session, Brighter Monday continues to learn and adapt to ways that will empower businesses and our customers. We aim to respond to what the customer needs and how best to provide efficient, time-saving, and resource-rich products and services, especially now that we're in the rise-up stage of the pandemic. I think the positivity that comes out of this pandemic is that we will survive this and we can survive this, but we do need to make alliances and partnerships, and we need to be more sensitive to what our customers need and require. And at Brighter Monday, basically, we try and provide really very resource-rich products. And this is to address any gaps that come out in the market due to a crisis. I think Herbert put it beautifully, is that don't let the crisis get you down, take advantage and make it an opportunity. And for us, we found that the skills assessment tool, as an example of what we have done at Brighter Monday to address this pandemic and how we can serve our clients better, was in research and development. We came up with a skills assessment tool, one like there isn't one in Africa, at least we can say confidently. And what the tool does, and the reason why we went into providing or developing a new product was to address the time sensitive and resource saving opportunity that all customers and employers are looking at right now. We need to be very sensitive with regards to our budgets. We need to be very sensitive as to our time. So, the tool tests candidates on their on the job knowledge, which brings you many steps forward as an employer to identify the most qualified candidate that you need to fill that particular position. And like I mentioned, I cannot emphasize more. We're really living in a situation where we cannot afford to lose any time or resources in our recovery and rise up. We need to be very, very sensitive. We need to get the right people in. And as HR experts, and this is what we do, we look at ways, and this is what also other companies are doing. And if they're not, we really highly recommend this, is that, look at how best to help the customer survive and thrive in this environment that we're in. And because a customer will thrive, you automatically, as the service provider, will thrive better. And so one of the things that, like Herbert mentioned, we did the Unity in Adversity over the last 3 months. And now we're going forward over the next 3 months in providing up to 20% discounts on our products, so that it is easier for companies to come forward and say, oh, look, you know what, maybe now I can afford, to look at procuring or recruiting through a digital platform, which is usually also much cheaper. And the fact that we now at this time need the best of the best, and we need to be as objective in our recruitment as possible. The skills assessment is what we thought would help employers by by cutting off the steps of assumptions and or also of the objectivity question. So a skills assessment test really provides you a step towards getting a candidate which has been assessed at least for a certain part of the interview or the process objectively. And I think that is really important in this day and age as well, right? You want the best possible. And with that, with Brighter Monday, what we found that even during the peak of the pandemic in Tanzania, it was our aim and mission to make the recruitment journey as painless and as enriching as possible. And we continue to do that. I think it's very important for our customers, new and our existing customers, to understand that we're here with you. We're here, to make sure that we all survive this. I think Rita made some very critical points about the health of our organization and our people. Thank you, Rita. I think that's incredibly true, especially now. We need to be a little more sensitive. We need to retain our talent. And more importantly as well, we need to be positive in the way we want to grow and embrace the digitization that we're seeing worldwide. And so please, if there is anything that we can do, that we can assist with, with regards to your recruitment and HR support, please do not hesitate to contact us. I think you've now seen our faces. There is Erica, there is who's marketing, and there's Nancy who's heading our sales. So karibu sana. Again, I want to thank Rita and Herbert, asante sana. And again, I close with an apology for the technical issues that we've faced, but Erica will send out the recordings of this webinar. Asante, thank you very much. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Reshma. And like you said, we truly apologize for the technical glitch we faced, and we promise next time to have a better setup that doesn't have the echo. And of course, we'll be sharing more and more on our insights, with regards to how HRs can, manage better their people. I'm saying the topics around, how to help employees recruit better using our platform. So thank you so much, Herbert and Rita. And of course, this session will be shared with you. A video will be shared with you along with our feedback form. Please do let us know what you think and which topics are interesting for you, so we can prepare and have the right people on board to share their insights. So yeah, I think that will be it from our team. We promise the next session will be very, very, the best of the best. Yes, we are also learning. This is post-COVID for us, adapting to digital. So thank you so much. We've had you all from the beginning to the end of this session. And at all, if you have any inquiries or questions, our email is info@monday.co.tz, and you can visit our website with the number you can call, and we'll be there to answer any of your questions. And at the bottom of this your screen, there is a green link that says "Test for the best of Brighter Monday Skills Assessment Tool." So if at all this tool interested you, you'd like to learn more about it, you'd like to know more about it, just click, and you're going to get a demo that will, show you how the skills assessment works. And of course, you can always reach out to us if you need any additional information. So thank you so much, and we hope you have a productive week. Bye-bye.